Hi, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my 7th graders curriculum for the school year of 2024 to 2025. So if you enjoyed this type of content and other homeschool and lifestyle content, please remember to subscribe and let's get into it. All right, so I wanted to start off this video by just letting you know that my 7th grader is on the autism spectrum and he is verbal and functions well most of the time. We have tantrums and different things that we have to deal with. So that kind of dictates a little bit of his schoolwork. And so I'll try to explain that as we go along. But just so you know that some of his things will be similar to what his younger sister is doing. Some of the things he won't be doing at all. So I forgot to mention that I already have curriculum videos out for my 2nd grader, my 4th grader, and my 6th grader. And so some of the things that they are doing, he won't be doing just because it's a little bit difficult and hard. So, and then after this video, there'll be a group work video as well. So you can look out for those and I'll link the other curriculum videos down below. So just with that little intro, let's get into it. All right, so for math, we're sticking with the good and the beautiful. They came out with Math 7 and there's 4 books, but he's actually working on book 1 already. And so this is book 4. I put the last one in the front. So it comes in like a 4-book series, and we have loved the Simply Good and the Beautiful math. And next year we'll have to figure out something else. I know eventually they're coming out with like Math 8, but I don't know when exactly that will be. And this one took a long time to come out after Math 6 as well. So we'll see. We'll see if I don't think it'll be out in time for him to use it. Maybe for some of my younger kids, and maybe we won't want to use it. I don't really know. So we'll be looking at other math curriculum. So if you have some that you've loved for like 8th grade on, as we get into some of those a little bit harder maths and stuff that you've really liked, I would love to hear. I know that we might do some that Ashley from Grace and Grit has mentioned that she's really loved, but I'll have to look into it. So we'll see if we get to a higher math this next year. It depends on how quickly he moves through these lessons. Like I said, he's already started Math 1, and we have about a month left of school before I have surgery. And so we'll see how far he gets through the first book. And then he might do a little bit over the summer, and then we'll start again in the fall. So depending on all that, I'll start looking for other math curriculums, but I'm not quite sure yet what it's gonna be or what will be the best fit for him. But I've actually really enjoyed this math so far, and it comes with this answer key and solutions, which I actually really like. The other answer books are really great for the good and the beautiful. This one I like because it actually shows you the math. So it'll give you like, here's a problem, and it'll go through it. So especially if you are not very into math, you don't like math, you're not good at it, whatever it is, and your kid maybe is not understanding it, you can go through the steps and it can help you instead of just like, here's an answer, because then you're like, wait, how did we get to that answer? So I like how there's a little bit more of like an explanation behind the answers. So if you're trying to figure out where they went wrong, you can look through and see it, or they can look through and see it. So I really like that idea. And then, yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. We're loving it. But this is the next one that he will be working on, and it has some logic puzzles too in here. I don't know if they're like at the end of a unit or every so many lessons or whatever, but it's really been good. So they have video lessons, I think, with this one too. My boys they just fight back so hard about watching them, but I might have him watch them. We'll see. It just depends. A lot of times because there is like a little lesson overview in here. So a lot of times if they read the lesson overview, they can figure out what to do. And as long as they're getting things correct and understanding the concept, I'm okay if they're just reading the lesson overview. But if they're not understanding things, then I want them to watch the video. So I do like how there is like a video lesson for them to watch. And I think it's on the app. Like this says, use the app to watch the video lesson. And the app is free. But I do have him do the warm-up section at the top right there. And then there'll be a practice for the lesson, and then there's review. So it's still this kind of spiral approach to learning. So here's all the review stuff. where they're learning new concepts, but they're also going back and reviewing other ones and incorporating them into their future lessons and all of that. So far it has worked really well for us. And then the next thing is language arts. He will be finishing up language arts 5 from The Good and the Beautiful. And this is one of those things that is a little more behind, I guess. I don't necessarily like to use the word behind, but I don't know a better word at the moment. So my 6th grader is also finishing this up, and she'll probably be moving to level 6 in the middle of her 6th grade year. So they've been on the same lessons, which has worked pretty well. There's some things in here that are maybe a little easy for him, but there's also a lot of things that are hard when it comes to writing stuff down, or like complete sentences and making things clear. It's really a big struggle, not just because he can't physically do it sometimes, but because he just doesn't want to. And so it just becomes this big struggle with him. And so that is why he is not doing the grammar and the reading comprehension and vocab that my other kids are doing, because just working through this with him and getting him to type things up and to write a story is a lot of work for us as parents. And my husband works with him a ton, trying to get him to do his schoolwork and to do it well and to do it correctly. So anyways, it's a struggle, but I really do like the language arts from The Good and the Beautiful. And some days are less of a struggle than others because he enjoys certain topics better. You know, it kind of spirals through a whole bunch of different ideas with geography, spelling. There's some art projects, which sometimes he really likes to do, other times he doesn't. So I like that there is a variety, so it's not always the same thing. And it also, so it comes with a watercolor book, which is in his drawer, and it has the pictures already kind of outlined so that he can go through and paint them. And then it comes with several readers that it has them go through. They listen to an audiobook already, so I like how there's, again, a variety of things. I feel like he enjoyed listening to an audiobook more than he enjoys reading the books. So even though he likes to read, he does read a lot. I think he just doesn't like to read when he hasn't picked it, which is probably the case for a lot of us, but it just comes out more in a neuroatypical child. So anyway, it's been going okay. So we're gonna keep doing that, and we'll see probably mid-year, I imagine, like in December to January time, we'll be moving to level 6, but we'll see how it goes. And then with handwriting, he is on level 5 right now. This is another thing that it's hard to get him to do it consistently. And so he's maybe halfway through it, but I feel like his writing looks pretty good. And so I'm like, he's doing a good job. So we need to work on this some more, and then he'll start on level 6. I do have level 7, but I doubt that we'll get to level 7 next year. His sister probably will, but I don't think he will, because his sister has already started this book and he still has maybe like half of this one to go through. So we'll see how that goes. And then he will be doing Duolingo still. He's doing Japanese. He really likes learning Japanese. He has been doing Outschool and doing a class once a week for Japanese. So we'll see if we continue doing that. We might take a break for the summer just for the Outschool. He'll still be doing Duolingo, but just because we're gonna be doing several different things and I don't wanna have to keep canceling classes or whatever. And so we'll see if we start it back in the fall, or if there's something else that's maybe a better fit that will help him practice his Japanese more, like actually speaking and communicating with someone, because that will help his Japanese, but that'll also help with his social struggles a little bit, with him being able to communicate more effectively with people. So we'll have that. And then his elective, I've been trying to, he's going into 7th grade, so I'm like, oh, I should like have some sort of elective, but it also needs to be something that is feasible for him to do every week, that we also don't have to put a ton of work into. And so I was thinking about a drawing type of a curriculum. I'm not like settled on a basic drawing class yet. I'm not sure what we want to do exactly, but I gave him a list of a few options we were okay with him picking from, and he does like to draw, maybe going into some sort of like animation type thing or design, like on a computer. So we'll see. I can't think of the word for design. Like, what is it called? I want to say interior design, but that is totally not what it is. I can't think of what it's called. Anyway, graphic design, that's the name. So he might want to go into something like that. He really enjoys that kind of stuff. And so I was like, okay, well, we need to start with like a basic drawing class so you can understand all the rules and stuff. So I know there's some on OutSchool. Sorry, I'm like looking at my notes to remember the name. So there's some on OutSchool and Skillshare. So Skillshare I think is more like subscription based. OutSchool, you just pay for classes by how often you do them. So we'll have to see. I might have to go get my baby. My kids are watching her, but she's not very happy. So we'll see what one we choose to do because I'm not 100% sure. So if you have suggestions for just a like intro drawing class or basic drawing class that would be good for a 7th grader that has a little bit of drawing skill, but not a ton or experience. You know, he doesn't have a ton of experience, but he has some. I would love to hear your suggestions as we try to figure out what would be the best fit for him and something, again, that's not too time consuming for us and that he has to do something a couple times a week, right? I want him to be accountable to work on a project or practice something or whatever a few times a week. So if you have suggestions, I would love to hear. Okay, my kids are trying for a change of scenery with the baby and hopefully she'll last a few more minutes because I'm almost done. But a few other like elective things I wanted to mention is typing, which I've already mentioned this so much in all my other videos. So if you watch those, you know that I'm just like always torn about typing. And he does okay already with typing, but all my kids want is to play games. But I'm like, you have to learn how to type to be able to play the games. And that's really hard for them. They're like, no, I just want to play the games. And so we've done typing.com. We've done a little bit of the Good and the Beautiful's curriculum. I think they're good. All of those are good. It's just when we do typing.com, they're just like so excited to play the games. And I'm like, I want you to go through the lessons. And then the Good and the Beautiful are like, this is so boring because there's no games. So anyway, we just need to figure out a good fit and be consistent about it because typing is just something I forget to do. And especially since he's getting to a point where he's using it more in like his language arts and typing things up, I'm like, he needs to know how to type. So if you have suggestions for that, I would love to hear. I'm not exactly sure what we're gonna do. Maybe we'll do a mixture of the Good and the Beautiful and typing.com, but again, with the no games until they're actually being proficient at it. Another thing that's hard for me with typing is I'm always doing so many things with all my kids. And I feel like if I don't watch them, they kind of cheat, you know, and don't type exactly with the right fingers all the time. And so then they're actually not learning all the things. So I'm like, oh, I need to watch them type and make sure that they're actually doing it correctly. But I also have all these other things. So again, solutions, ideas, anything for any of those things, I would just love to hear because I need some help over here. But that's where we're going with that. And then he is doing Exploring Tech. We're still doing My Tech High, our charter school that we like to be a part of. This will be our 3rd year starting in the fall. And so they provide funding for different topics, like different subjects. And so we're gonna continue doing an Exploring Technology class. That's kind of, since it's a kind of online tech sort of charter school, they have you do some sort of technology class. So this includes like, you can use this funding for Legos or for other engineering building projects. We did the Cricut, like just a small, the Cricut Joy, just a small one last year. We used some of the funds for that and he enjoyed making stuff for t-shirts. And so that's again, some sort of graphic design, right? Because you're having to use the design space for the Cricut and either use their like images or create your own. So that's introducing him a little bit to that graphic design, but he needs the basis of like a drawing type situation for helping him understand everything that's going on behind the scenes of graphic design. So I'm not a graphic designer, so but I'm just like basic drawing seems like a good place to start. And then he'll have some sort of another elective with that. I'll see if we put his basic drawing into that elective. Since we haven't registered completely for the My Tech High for this next year, it usually is like in July sometime when all that opens up. I don't know exactly what their options are for classes for 7th graders, so I need to be able to look at that and decide. But we've done Japanese in the past, so they've reimbursed his OutSchool classes. So if we decide to do that, we'll have it that way. Or maybe some sort of gym or like extracurricular thing where they'll reimburse either if he does basketball or track or things like that, then we can get that reimbursed. So some things are still really up in the air, and with him, every day is really up in the air, to be honest. So we'll see how it goes. And then the last thing I wanted to ask you guys for help, more experienced homeschoolers than me, I don't know, or that are homeschooling older kids, because this is us just starting to get into the older grades, and do you provide some sort of motivation for your kids to do their schoolwork well? So my biggest thing with some of my kids, they just are thorough generally and generally get most of the answers correct. They get a few things wrong, but with this particular child, it becomes a little bit of a struggle. Sometimes he gets everything right, and sometimes you can tell that he's just rushed through. He won't show his work, and it's not just like there's a lot of things he just doesn't care about, okay, like having negative reinforcement or positive reinforcement or prizes. Sometimes he cares, sometimes he doesn't, you know, but sometimes it's just really hard for him to control himself, and he'll get mad and then realize later on that he was mad, you know. So it's really a big struggle to find something that would motivate properly or get him to do his schoolwork, because I'm like, how am I supposed to grade this? Like, do I give you an A if you go back and correct your work, or do I not? Like, I'm just not quite sure, especially, you know, with him being autistic, but also just going into these older grades, the best way to approach generally for all my kids. Do you give them their grades based on them fixing things, or based on the initial thing? Like if they get things wrong, then that's their grade in the class. Anyway, give me your wisdom, because I haven't researched it a ton or looked for other options. Sometimes it's hard to find them anyways, but if you have suggestions or ideas or things that have worked for your kids, I am open to like hearing things that might motivate, especially for a neuroatypical child. If you have experiences with that would be the most helpful, but anything, I'm willing to like try anything. All right, so that's my 7th graders curriculum for this upcoming school year. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it gave you some ideas, and also you just are gonna give me lots of feedback, because that's what I asked for. So hopefully you have lots of comments to give me, because I need all your help going into some of these upper grades. So please comment down below, answer my questions. I would really appreciate it so very much, and I'm sure other people would too if they have the same questions. And if you enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.